For our practice today, coming to a nice, easy seated place on the mat. First, taking any minor adjustments that allows us to be seated a little bit more comfortably. Starting with a shoulder roll where we lift our shoulders up, relaxing them down. Maybe a couple more of those big shoulder rolls. Maybe if we'd like to do just some wrist rolls and finger stretches, just to start to loosen up. Maybe we like to bend and extend our elbow joint, and ultimately come to a comfortable place with our eyes soft and closed, where we can focus to our breath, creating that diaphragmatic breath. Deep inhale through the nose, filling the lungs with air, and a slow, relaxing exhale breath. And deep, slow inhale breath. Long, relaxing exhale breath. Just tuning into the rhythmic flow of the breath. Each in-breath followed by an out-breath, which is then followed by an in-breath. And in today's practice, we're going to bring more mindfulness and awareness to our upper body, to our shoulders, to our wrists, to our elbows, and to all the muscles that allow us to have movement in those joints. And so as we breathe now, let's see if we can breathe all the way into the lower lobes of the lungs, letting that air expand out through the shoulders, out to the fingertips. And exhale, releasing and softening those joints, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. Mindfulness, awareness to the body. Noticing that each inhale breath allows our crown of head, our torso to rise up towards the sky. And each exhale breath, our shoulders relaxing, softening of the expression on our face. Invite in some gentle movement to match the breath. Our next inhale will circle our arms overhead, sweeping and reaching up to the sky, allowing our palms to meet and hands to flow to heart center. Continuing that motion, inhale, circling upward to the sky, reaching through our fingertips, and exhale, a gentle press of our palms to bring our hands in and down. A few more times, we'll circle sweep. Becoming aware of the motion in our shoulders, where we externally rotate, inhale, circling all the way up to the sky, like we're sweeping all the air around us. Let's take one more circle sweeping reach of the arms. And then from here, we'll place the right hand down to mat, letting left arm reach overhead into a lateral flexion stretch. Inhaling a deep breath into the side body. Let's exhale to rise up and off to the other side. Holding here, inhaling, big, deep inhale, stretch. Exhale to rise up and to switch sides. Thinking of our spines like a rainbow, lifting up and over with every inhale breath. Lengthening and reaching, expanding that side body. Let's flow one more time on each side. And inhale, space. In the side, exhale. With the next inhale breath, as both arms reach overhead, letting those palms meet and hands to flow to heart center. From here, a seated cat-cow, we'll place our hands onto knees. Let's inhale, lifting our heart center up to the sky, a slight tucking of the chin to lengthen the back of the neck. And then exhale to round, bringing chest, chin to chest, ribs to hips. Again, inhaling to lift and lengthen, expanding through the front of the body. Then exhale to open through the back of the body. Let's find two more flows in each direction. Using the power of the breath to create space and length all throughout the body. each direction. First arching, and then rounding. And as we ultimately come up to a neutral spine, inhaling and circling our arms overhead. This time we'll exhale into a twist. Twisting to the right side, one hand in front, the other one behind, holding into the gentle seated twist. Inhaling to return to center, sweeping overhead. Exhale, twisting off to the other side. Using the strength of our back and our core center to move in and out of the twist. Flowing with breath. Let's flow one more time on each side. And with our next inhale breath, as we raise both arms overhead, letting our palms meet and hands flow to heart center. We can place our hands down onto our knees. We're going to take some neck rolls, so drawing chin to chest, let's sway the head off to one side, ear towards the shoulder, lengthening the side of neck, back and through the center, off to the other side, just a little rocking side to side, nice and gentle. And as we do so, let's still continue to lift heart center upward towards the sky, shoulders back and down. So always working on that neutral posture. Ultimately draw our heads back up to neutral. Let's transition onto all fours, or hands and knees, facing towards the top of the mat. We'll bring those wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Let's find just some little gentle movement side to side where we're becoming more aware of our palms into the mat with our wrists underneath shoulders, softening the elbows. We're going to return to that cat-cow flow for more full spinal movement. So inhaling, lifting, tailbone, lifting, crown ahead. Then we'll tuck in the tailbone, articulating one vertebra at a time as we come into cat pose. Continuing to move between those two postures, inhale, lengthening through the front of the body. And exhale, opening through the back of the body. And let's flow one more time in each direction. Ultimately return back to center. For our flowing thread the needle, let's inhale, right arm up to sky, holding here, engaging back to shoulder, just noticing our range of motion. With an exhale, we'll slide this arm underneath and through between opposite wrist and knee. Continuing to flow, we'll reach back up to the sky. Big deep breath as we reach, strengthening back to shoulder. Exhale to bring the arm underneath and through. We'll flow one more time, and on this time, we'll hold for just a short moment. Bringing the arm underneath and through, resting down side to shoulder, side ahead. As we inhale, lifting back up to the sky. Palm reaching. And let's place those hands back down onto mat. Resetting to center. And finding the same on the other side. Inhaling, left arm up to sky. Holding here, feeling strength on the back of the shoulder. Exhale to draw underneath and through. Then inhale, raising upward, reaching to the sky. Exhale. And on this last time, we'll take a moment where we pause and hold. As we rest down to side to shoulder, side ahead, let's breathe deeply into the back of the shoulder. Big, deep inhale breath. Bring ourselves back in, reaching left arm up to the sky. And placing hand to the mat where our hips sink back to heels, arms reaching forward for our child's pose. A little gentle rock side to side, massaging to opening through the hips. And as we do that little rock side to side, let's see if we can start to inchworm our fingertips forward. So a little bit on the left fingertips, a little bit on the right fingertips. Working to expand through the back of the shoulders. start to warm the upper body. Let's take our eye gaze towards our fingertips, inhaling forward into a kneeling plank. Little yogi push-up where we lower halfway down, pressing back up, and then hips to heels in our child's pose. Continuing to flow with breath, again, inhaling forward, half lower, inhale to lift, and hips back to heels. Moving at our own pace as we warm and strengthen the body. And as we flow, let's notice our elbows alongside the body. That we come forward, our shoulders are over fingertips, keeping that space between shoulders and ears. So we have alignment of elbows and wrists. And let's flow one more time at our own pace. Where we ultimately draw hips to heels, resting back, checking in with the bodies. Big, deep inhales and exhales. As we hold here, let's walk both hands off to the right side for a lateral flexion. And as we pause, taking a deep breath, opening, expanding side body, stretching all those intercostal muscles, those little muscles in between the ribs. Then let's walk hands off to the other side. Again, holding here, big deep inhale breath. With our arms drawing back in front of us, let's tuck and lift into our downward facing dog, creating an inverted V shape of the body. Softness to our knees as we firmly press into our palms. We'll pedal one heel down to the mat, holding, stretching the calf on that side, and then switching to the other side. Just a little gentle pedal push each side. Pausing as long as needed to obtain the stretch. As we let both heels press towards the mat, let's lift up onto tiptoes to stretch the bottom of the feet. And then we'll let both heels press back down. Again, inhale, lifting to tiptoes. Exhale to release. And one last flow for the fascia on the bottom of the feet. And then we'll return to that pedal push, alternating each side. And then from here, let's walk, step, or jump our feet to top of mat into forward fold. With an inhale breath, we'll rise upward to the sky, circle sweeping reaching, bringing palms to meet and hands to heart center as we flow into chair pose. Continuing to flow in and out of chair. And if we'd like to explore the range of motion of our shoulders, we can take our arms circle sweeping and reaching out in front of us, becoming aware of that unique motion. Let's flow just 2 more times. So we warm up a little bit more through our hips, flowing in and out of a forward fold. First, inhaling to reach upward to the sky. Hinging at the hips, circle sweeping to the sides as we reach fingertips down to the mat. Holding here, pausing for a moment. Little sway, rock side to side like a ragdoll. And then we'll inhale, rise back up to the sky. Flowing back down to the mat. And again, we can hold, or if we like that ragdoll sway side to side. And inhaling to rise. One more time into our forward fold. And with our next inhale breath, as we lift upward to the sky, bringing palms to meet, hands to heart center. As we turn to face the long edge of the mat, preparing for moonflowers and sunflowers, we'll take our stance wide, knees and toes facing outward, creating our alignment. And with an inhale, we circle up to the sky. From here, sinking straight down into our moonflowers, tracking knees to toes, elbows into sides, and then we rise back up. Alternating with a sun flow, where we hinge forward, arms circling underneath. So one moonflower, one sunflower. And what I want us to focus on is the strengthening of our back, particularly as we sink into our moonflower. Our elbows drawing in and down as our knees are pressing outward to open the inner thighs. Let's flow one more of each. First a moonflower, And then flowing into sunflower, where we alternate circle our arms overhead. Big, deep breath, making our palms meet and hands to heart center. As we ultimately turn to step to the top of our mats, preparing for our sun salutations. With our feet directly underneath hips, let's circle up to the sky. Exhaling to fold down to the mat. With our right foot stepping back, let's place the knee down to mat, untucking toes, rising arms to sky. Moving into a twist where we twist towards the front knee, hand to hip, hand to knee, low twist lunge. Inhaling to untwist, arms reach to sky. Exhaling with our hands down, hips to heels and child's pose. Shifting forward into kneeling. Let's come all the way onto our bellies. Lifting our heart center into cobra. Let's press up and back, hips to heels in our child's pose. With a lift, stepping the right foot forward. Rising arms to sky. Twisting towards the other side this time, hand to hip, hand to knee. As we untwist, arms can reach. And we'll release it, step into forward fold. With a rise to the sky, inhaling breath. And moving through our chair pose, hands to heart center or arms extend forward. Let's flow that same sequence, leading with the other side. So we'll step the left foot back. And as we draw knee down, inhaling upward to the sky. Rotate, twist towards the front knee, hand to hip, hand to knee. With an untwist, we rise. Releasing for our child's pose. With an inhale breath, we shift forward, coming down onto our bellies. Lifting into cobra, and finding our way back into child's pose. As we lift, stepping the left foot forward, rising to sky. Let's rotate and twist towards the front knee. And as we untwist, rising, reaching, releasing for our forward fold. Lifting upward to the sky, extending mountain, and finding our chair pose. Now moving into our full sun salutations, bigger range of motion, more heat building, strength building. We'll step the right foot back into lunge. With an inhale breath, we lift. And as we release our hands, grounding the right palm, left arm will reach upward to the sky. Inhaling, deep breath here, strengthening back shoulder. Exhale to release, we find our three-legged dog. Back into our downward facing dog, flowing a vinyasa, knees or toes. From our downward facing dog, our right heel will lift. Let's bend and step all the way through. With a rise upward to the sky. Let's release, grounding the left palm, right arm upward to the sky, twisting lunge. With our hand to the mat, let's step into fold. Inhaling to rise. And moving through chair pose. We'll flow one more sun salutation sequence. This time stepping back with the left foot. Let's reach upward to the sky into high lunge. Placing left hand to mat, right arm to sky, twisting lunge. As we move into three-legged dog, strengthening our glute in the air behind us. And finding downward facing dog. Knees or toes, flowing through a vinyasa. With the left heel to sky, let's bend and step through. Inhaling to rise. And as we release, grounding the right palm to mat, left arm to sky. Placing hand to the mat, we step into forward fold. With an inhale breath, lifting upward. And moving through chair pose. Now as we inhale, let's place those hands around behind us into a chest expansion. Let's focus on, before we interlace, really almost like we're bringing our palms forward, engaging the back shoulders in our back, and then we can interlace. Feeling a lift of our heart center, maybe even softening and closing the eyes. Appreciating the openness to the front of the shoulders, to the chest. With our next onto the mat, stepping our right foot back into warrior two. We'll windmill and rise ourselves up. And for just a moment, doing a flowing warrior two, straightening arms, straightening legs, and then exhale to sink deeper. We have the option for more strength building by bringing the arms overhead, or for more gentle place, we can bring those arms underneath. And if we don't want to have to choose, we can do one of each. Let's do one more flow before we hold. Now as we hold our warrior two, let's see if we can firm up the lower part of our arm. So we're using our forearm and our tricep, softening through the top of our arm, through the wrist, through the bicep, so that we're using our shoulders and forearms a little bit more in balance. Maintaining that strength, fingertip to fingertip, as we inhale into a reverse warrior. Backhand light to back thigh, or maybe we like to wrap around in front of us for more shoulder opening. As we inhale, straightening the front leg, and we'll tilt forward and down into our triangle pose. Placing hand light onto our next to the shin, back arm to sky. Adding some rotation into the shoulder joint. Let's take this top arm, inhaling all the way in the forward direction. Exhale to circle around. A couple more times in the forward direction, moving with breath. And then let's reverse that motion. Again, circling forward and then circling back and around. Ultimately holding arm up to the sky, straight line, fingertip to fingertip. As we soften our front knee, let's release the hands, and we'll drop that back knee down into low lunge. With a rise of our arms up to the sky, we're going to add in our cow face arms. We're going to place the right palm to the back, in between the shoulder blades. We can stay here for a tricep stretch, or if we'd like, taking our left arm, internally rotating, bringing the arm behind us, bending at the elbow, and reaching fingertips towards one another. Perhaps using a strap if we have one handy. Of our fingertips, let's inhale upwards to the sky. And then we'll ultimately place our hands down, moving into our choice of downward facing dog or child's pose. So if we like more strength building in the upper body, moving into that down dog, perhaps a vinyasa flow. And if we like a little bit more rest and relaxation, finding our child's pose for a few moments of deep breathing. Let's take and step our right foot to the top of the mat, opening up to warrior two. And once we have established our warrior posture, let's begin to flow. Again, straightening, reaching arms either overhead or down beneath us. Find one last flow, and then we'll hold our warrior two, easing down, strengthening the glutes to keep the hips open. And just as we did before, let's think we can soften through our hands, through our forearms, bringing more strength throughout, equal balance, both top and bottom of our arms. We'll bring this into a reverse warrior. Again, hand light to back thigh, or maybe wrapping around to the front. Feeling our heart center reaching upward towards the lifted palm. return to a straight front leg position, tilting forward and down into a triangle pose. Once we've established integrity in the posture, adding our arm circle sweep flow, inhaling, reaching all the way forward, exhaling to circle around. So not only are we opening up the shoulder joint, but we're also activating the lymphatic system. We can reverse that motion into the opposite direction. One last circle sweep allows our arm to reach backward, upwards to the sky. Then we'll soften through the front knee, bringing hands to mat, shifting into a low lunge. Once we've dropped the back knee down, inhaling arms to the sky. Let's place the left hand into that tricep stretch, hand in between the shoulder blades. Staying here, adding the right arm, reaching around. Inhale breath as we raise arms up to the sky. We can release, and again finding downward dog or child's pose, our choice. Optional Vinyasa flow. We'll step our right foot back forward, shortening into a warrior one. And as we ground that back heel down to the mat, raising the arms up to the sky. From here, adding in our eagle arms, where we sweep out to the sides. Let's stack the right arm on top of the left, interlacing, opening up the space in between the shoulder blades. We can take a slight lift of the elbows to deepen that stretch. Inhale breath as we untwist. Let's open up into our warrior two, adjusting our stance longer. And what we're going to add here is a Roman hand grip behind us. So grabbing our own forearms, but placing the hands to the low back. This allows us to pull our back shoulder, our left shoulder in this case, back, creating more openness and better alignment with shoulders over hips, opening to long edge mat. If this feels good, we can stay here, or if we can maintain this openness, floating the arms out to shoulder height. With a deeper bend of our front knee, let's come forward and down into a side ankle. Elbow light onto the thigh. Exhale breath as we release down into lunge. Let's continue to rotate torso towards the front knee for prayer twist lunge. Pressing palms firmly together as we hug front knee into chest, chest to knee. Exhale breath. We'll make our way into three-legged dog. Nice hip release with the heel dropping behind, bending at the knee, opening hip. And then back into our downward facing dog. Again, holding here or flowing through a vinyasa. Option for child's pose for rest. breath, let's take the left foot stepping forward, shortening into warrior one on this side. As we ground the heel, raising arms up to the sky. Adding back in the eagle arms, but this time stacking left on top of right. Just as we did with our first side, slight lift of the elbows. Breathing deeply into the spine, into that space between the shoulder blades. With our next inhales, we untwist and raise the arms up to the sky. Let's open to that warrior two. And just as we did on our first side, the reverse cradle arm Roman hand grip behind us, allowing us to align the shoulders, particularly this time focusing on strengthening the back of the right shoulder to keep openness through the front. Good, staying here for stretch or strengthening our shoulders by extending the hands out to shoulder height. With our next exhale, coming forward and down into side angle. Transition into lunge. And once we have our feet hip distance apart, prayer twist lunge. To create that hip openness, it's important to engage the inner thigh of the front leg, drawing the thigh towards the belly, belly towards the thigh. Twist of our hands to the backs. Let's find our three-legged dog, hip opener behind. As we return to our downward facing dog, a little strengthening for the upper body. Moving from down dog to plank, just becoming aware of the pressing of our palms, the movement in our shoulders, the engagement of the core as we shift forward into a plank. Hovering with those shoulders over wrists, and then gently pulling our hips up and back into downward facing dog. Nice slow flow, we'll do that 3 more times. Shifting forward, noticing the control and movement in the body, hips lifting upward to the sky. And one more time, we shift forward. Pulling back up to sky. And our last time. Exhale breath. Let's take and step our left foot forward, shortening into our pyramid pose, grounding that back knee to 45 or thereabouts. Shortening the stance so it's about 2 foot distance in between, with hand on thigh, shin all the way down to the floor. Working on pulling back gently with the left hip. Soften enough that we can place the hands to the mat, lifting the back heel to tripod, staying here or opening up into our half moon, challenging our balance. Releasing back to tripod, stepping to lunge and finding three-legged dog. Leg back through into our pigeon pose. Knee to wrist, heel to opposite hip. Let's first start lifted upward, heart center forward. Deep breath here. Then with an exhale, coming down onto our forearms, resting and relaxing. Seeing if we can melt all tension out of that glute. let's press back up onto our palms, making our way into our downward facing dog. Holding here or flowing through a vinyasa. We're going to repeat that down dog plank flow, building strength and stability in the upper body, where we inhale forward into a plank. Feeling the pressing of palms to mats, and exhaling back into downward facing dog. Again, inhaling forward, and exhale to lift. Seeing if we could find that consistent motion both forward and back. And one last time. Where we ultimately step our right foot forward, shortening into pyramid pose on this side. And letting hands land where they may, whether it's on the thigh, shin, foot, or floor. Softness through our front knee. Let's place the hands to the mat, finding tripod, staying here or opening into our half moon. Or placing the hand down, we'll step into a lunge, finding three-legged dog. Ultimately drawing the leg back through into our pigeon pose. Just as we did on our first side, taking our time to come into the deep stretch, making sure that we have no discomfort on the front knee or hip, and then staying lifted or coming down onto forearms. Our palms, finding our way into downward facing dog, holding down dog or last optional vinyasa flow for heat and strength building. We'll take a step our left foot to top of mats, walking ourselves to long edge of mats. For our standing straddle, let's do a little flow where we bend one knee, shifting weight so inner thigh stretch, and then flowing to the other side. Just a little openness to the body. And then we can ultimately straighten both legs as we come into that full hinge. inhale breath as we raise up onto fingertips. Let's walk ourselves towards the top of the mat, stepping into forward fold. And as we inhale to rise to the sky, let's bring palms to knee and hands to heart center. For balance today, we're going to be working on our dancer pose. So we can focus on the positioning of the shoulder. And what we'll do is stand onto our left foot. The right arm's going to open up like a door. So our palms facing up, our thumbs facing up, palms facing forward. And we'll catch the inside part of our heel and ankle. And then we'll press that away, heel into hand as the opposite arm reaches. And as we press away, kick away, we want to draw the right shoulder back and down, engaging the upper back, opening the front of the shoulder. As we bring our knee inward and back down to the mat, readjusting into our mountain pose. This time standing on the right leg, the left arm will open like a door, catching the inside part of our heel and foot. Again, kicking away as the opposite arm reaches. Releasing back down to the mat with our feet underneath our hips. For our second balance pose, standing balance pigeon, we'll ground back into the right foot, left foot lifts, crossing across, and we'll sink down, just like a standing or seated figure four, focusing on sinking deeply, the press of the palms together. Placing feet down to the mat, switching to the other side, grounding into the left foot, the right knee lifts, and again crossing across as we sink down like a single leg squat. Release back into our mountain pose. And from the top of our mat, let's inhale up to the sky. Let's come into our forward fold, where we'll hang heavy for a moment, chin to chest, fingertips to the mat. Either staying here for a forward fold, maybe finding big toe, yogi toe grip for gorilla pose. Take deep inhales and exhales into the back of the body. Then we'll ultimately soften, making our way down into our child's pose, hips to heels. As we gaze upward towards our palms, let's shift forward into kneeling, coming onto our bellies for Sphinx pose. With the Sphinx pose being a supported back bend, we'll prop ourselves with our elbows underneath our shoulders. Relaxing through the legs, the glutes, releasing tension from the low back. Still engagement through the belly, shoulders drawing back and down. Big deep breaths into the back side of the body. This is also a perfect opportunity if we'd like to soften and close our eyes. We release our hands underneath our shoulders. Let's find child's pose as a counter stretch. Let's ultimately lift up, making our way seated for our butterfly pose. Soles of feet coming together. We'll sit tall on our sits bones, readjusting As our heart center lifts, knees dropping outward to the sides. We can stay with our lifted torso, or if we'd like a deeper stretch, hinging forward, letting elbows come to the inner thighs. Let's meet with a lifted torso, allowing our left leg to drop outward to the side. Right heel coming in, preparing for revolved head to knee. We'll rotate shoulders towards the bent knee, sliding left arm outside left leg, right arm circling all the way overhead. Feeling like our spine is becoming a rainbow. Inhale breath, we raise our torso, turning towards our extended leg to hinge into a single leg stretch. Inhale, let's circle our right hand behind us, left arm overhead as we lift into half wild thing, hips away from the mat as we lift to knee and to ankle. And then drawing our hips back down so we can shift to the other side. Taking the right leg to extend, left heel in, rotating shoulders towards the bent knee, and as we slide the right arm alongside the right leg, left arm circling overhead, inhaling deep breath. Inhale as we raise our torso. Let's rotate into a single leg stretch. Finally, with our next inhale, spiraling the left arm behind us as the right arm goes overhead, lifting hips into our half wild thing. With a release of our hips down to the mat, let's make our way supine on our backs. Drawing knees into the chest. And as we hug in, let's take a little gentle rock side to side, massaging the low back. Making sure to draw those shoulders underneath us so that our spine is neutral, our shoulders are relaxed. And from here, we'll take our knees wide and hands on bottom of the feet for our dead bug or happy baby, letting the heels press upward towards the sky as we pull downward, creating dynamic tension. Ultimately bring our legs in and down, feet down to the mat. Drawing shoulder blades back underneath us, preparing for bridge pose, lifting hips up to the sky. We can walk up higher onto our shoulders, walking those fingertips towards the heels. Feeling strength in the glutes to open the front of the hips as we engage the adductors to keep knees in line. Hips back down to the mat and knees into chest as counter stretch. We're going to have the opportunity to repeat our back bend either with bridge pose or if in our practice a full wheel, full back bend. So from our knees to chest, let's place our feet down to the mat, hip distance apart. Again, drawing shoulders underneath us, pressing our hips into bridge. Holding bridge, again, either reaching fingertips towards heels or maybe walking up higher onto our shoulder blades for a chest expansion. If we'd like wheel pose, flipping palms on either side of our head and straightening our arms so our spines becomes like a rainbow. Releasing from our back bend of choice. We'll take and extend the left leg long for supine spinal twist. The right knee comes across the body. We'll relax the arms and legs, bringing out tension from the spine. Relaxing even deeper into the pose. To our backs, re-squaring hips. We'll take the right leg long, this time left knee across the body. Just as we did it with our first side, relaxing arms and legs. Come back onto our backs. Re-squaring hips, let's extend the legs long on the mat and then take our arms overhead for a full body stretch. All the way from fingertips, tip of our fingers down to the tip of our toes. Stretching and reaching, pulling in opposite directions. One more deep inhale breath. And then as we relax, bringing those arms alongside the body into a comfortable place for our final relaxation. inhales. Creating relaxing exhales. We can bring some gentle movement into the body, wiggling fingertips and toes, rolling wrists and ankles. Just becoming aware of these smaller movements, creating bigger movements. We can ultimately start to bring those knees into the chest, where we hug in, taking a little rock side to side, massaging the low back. We can ultimately bring ourselves to a seated place, where we sit comfortable and tall. In our easy seated, hands to knees, palms up or palms down, our eyes are soft and closed. And let's just bring awareness to that breath, to the in-breath, to the out-breath, to the calm relaxation, to being in the present moment. As we take our next inhale, circle sweeping arms upward to the sky, allowing the palms to meet and hands to flow to heart center, where we pause with hands in Anjali Mudra, our symbol of gratitude. And as the light in me honors the light in you, namaste.